The galaxy was quiet. Not peaceful, exactly, but calm in the way that only a civilization certain of its own power could feel. Stars shimmered in endless black, and vast fleets of alien ships moved like silent predators across the void. In the heart of the Zerathian Empire, the ruling council gathered in their crystal chamber, discussing matters of trade, conquest, and the latest rumors from the edges of known space. The Zerathians were proud. They had conquered worlds, tamed deadly stars, and bent entire planets to their will. Their ships were faster than light, their weapons capable of tearing apart moons. They had long believed that no other species could survive in the deep reaches of space, not unless it had been gifted with the same level of technology or ruthlessness. Yet, on a small, forgotten planet in the outer rim, something ancient stirred. The planet was barren, its surface cracked and dry, filled with jagged mountains and deep craters. Yet in one small valley, hidden beneath the rock and dust, lay a strange device. It pulsed faintly as if it were alive, waiting for someone or something to awaken it. A team of Zerathian scientists had been sent to explore this remote planet. They were curious but cautious, though mostly because curiosity had killed off previous explorers in less obvious ways. Among the scientists was Krelin, a cautious and highly intelligent researcher. Krelin had spent years studying alien artifacts, but nothing had prepared him for this. The device was unlike anything recorded in their archives. "It's old," Krelin said quietly, his multifaceted eyes scanning the pulsing core of the machine. "And powerful. Very powerful." Another scientist, a younger and more impulsive one named Vera, shook her head. "Old and dangerous usually means it's useless," she said. "It's probably a relic, a story for the history halls, nothing more." But Krelin wasn't convinced. Something in the way the energy flowed, the faint hum that seemed almost alive, told him this was not a relic. It was a warning. "Look at the markings," Krelin said, pointing to the carved symbols along the edges of the device. "It says the power inside should never be released. Forbidden. If we activate it, it could—" "Could what?" Vera interrupted. "Destroy a few rocks? The worst thing that could happen is we get a warning and go home." Krelin's eyes narrowed. "No. I think it could destroy worlds, or awaken something far beyond our control. We don't understand it, and yet we are here, touching it." Vera laughed. "You sound like an old philosopher. The council wants results, Krelin, not warnings. Pressing buttons is part of science. That's how we learn." The other scientists murmured in agreement. The idea of a forbidden power fascinated them. Curiosity, combined with arrogance, won over caution. Slowly, hesitantly, they moved toward the device. Krelin stayed behind, unsure if he should stop them, and then Vera pressed the button. It was not a loud noise, not an explosion, not even a flash. But the energy within the device reacted immediately, sending a pulse through space. The pulse was invisible to the naked eye, but detectable by every ship, satellite, and probe within thousands of light years. Back in the Zerathian capital, the council felt the disturbance almost immediately. Screens lit up with alerts, readings spiking beyond known limits. The chamber filled with a tense silence. Even the most confident leaders could feel the power of something ancient, mysterious, and entirely unexpected. "What is it?" asked the High Chancellor, his voice tight. "Where is it coming from?" One of the scientists monitoring the outer rim shook his head. "We don't know, sir. But whatever it is, it's moving, faster than anything we've ever seen," the council whispered among themselves. It was unprecedented. No one could trace the origin quickly enough. The signal, or the power, was like nothing in their records. The universe had always seemed predictable to the Zerathians. They had plans for everything. But this was unpredictable. On the barren planet, Krelin watched in horror as the pulse expanded outward. "You don't understand," he said to the others. "This isn't just energy. It's a beacon. Someone is coming." Vera rolled her eyes. More drama. Probably another experiment failed somewhere. But Krelin wasn't joking. He felt it in his core. Something had awoken, and it was moving toward the Zerathian Empire. Something intelligent, something dangerous, but not in the way they expected. Hours later, distant observers in the outer sectors reported strange objects moving at impossible speeds. Ships without known technology, moving in perfect coordination. The pulse from the forbidden device seemed to guide them, as if it were a signal calling them home, or warning them. In the council chamber, panic began to rise. The Zerathians had never faced a threat they could not understand or calculate. Their fleets, their armies, their weapons, they had always been enough. But now, the unknown approached. The council tried to remain calm, issuing commands, preparing defenses, and scrambling fleets. Yet all their calculations, all their strategies, failed to explain what they were seeing. Reports came in, ships appearing from nowhere, vessels moving faster than light, but leaving no warp traces. Planets that should have been safe were suddenly under observation. The aliens tried to communicate, to send warnings, but the messages bounced back with no reply. Creelan's fears deepened. He understood what the Council could not. This was no ordinary force. This was a species that had waited patiently, hidden in the shadows, observing. And now, something had triggered their arrival. On board a sleek, silent human ship, a small crew monitored the galaxy with calm, sharp eyes. Their ship looked unremarkable, almost fragile compared to Zerathian warships, but it was a marvel of design. It could repair itself, adapt to new threats, and operate in environments deadly to most life forms. Captain Elena Hart leaned back in her chair, fingers drumming on the console. "They pressed the button," she said quietly. Her first officer, a young man named Jonas, nodded. "Yes, Captain, the pulse reached the outer rim. Our calculations say it will hit the inner sectors in just a few hours." Elena's eyes narrowed. "And they have no idea what's coming. Let's keep it that way." Their crew moved with quiet efficiency, preparing for what was to come. They weren't there to conquer. They weren't there for revenge. They were there to ensure that no species, no matter how powerful, could misuse a force they did not understand. Back in the council chamber, the Zerathians began to panic. Reports of strange objects appearing in multiple sectors spread like wildfire. Fleet commanders demanded permission to fire, to engage, to destroy what they could not see. The council hesitated, unsure if they were seeing a miracle or a disaster. And then, across the galaxy, a subtle but unmistakable message arrived. It was not loud, it was not aggressive, it was simple. "We are here." The council stared at their screens. No one moved. No one spoke. The galaxy had always belonged to the Zerathians in their minds. But now, they realized that assumption had been wrong. Creelan whispered under his breath, "We shouldn't have pressed the button. We awakened them. And now, we cannot stop what is coming." Outside the capital, the stars seemed to shimmer differently. The pulse of the forbidden device continued to spread, almost like a heartbeat, guiding something through the void. Something alive, intelligent, and unstoppable. And in the silence of space, far from the Zerathian fleets, the humans watched, calm and ready. They had waited for this moment for centuries. They had observed, learned, and hidden. And now, the moment of revelation had arrived. The calm before the storm was over. The Zerathian fleets were on high alert. Their warships, the largest in the galaxy, moved in precise formations. Energy shields shimmered as lasers hummed quietly along their hulls. Every captain believed in the superiority of their fleets. Every commander assumed that no species could challenge them. Yet the pulse from the forbidden device continued to spread across the stars, moving faster than any Zerathian sensor could track. The Alien Council argued endlessly over what to do. Some wanted to strike blindly, attacking the outer sectors in case the pulse carried a weapon. Others feared that any aggression might trigger an even greater disaster. And then, they saw them. At first, it was just small blips on the sensors, tiny objects moving at impossible speeds, weaving around Zerathian probes without leaving any traces. The Council assumed it was a new class of weapon or drone, but the movement pattern was too deliberate, too coordinated. "They are ships," one officer whispered, disbelief in his voice. "They shouldn't exist," another said. Nothing that moves this fast, nothing that can survive without our technology, should exist. The Council's fear grew as the objects moved closer. The first human ships appeared at the edge of Zerathian space. Unlike the massive warships of the Empire, the human vessels were sleek, unassuming, almost fragile in appearance. They glided silently, no shields flaring, no engines blazing, but appearances were deceiving. Captain Elena Hart observed the sensors aboard her flagship, the Intrepid Dawn. "We are entering Zerathian space," she said calmly. "Maintain formation. Do not engage unless provoked. Let's see what they do first." Her crew, trained to perfection, nodded. Each knew the stakes. The Zerathians had no idea who or what was coming. They assumed power came from weapons and numbers. Humans knew otherwise. The first warning came when a Zerathian probe tried to scan the human ships. It was destroyed before it could send a single signal back. Not with explosive firepower, but by a strange interference field the humans created. It rendered the probe completely useless, frozen in place before disintegrating into harmless particles. "Impossible," muttered Admiral Kreth, commander of the Zerathian fleet. "How? What?" "They are adapting," Krelin whispered from the council chamber, finally realizing the truth. "They are not just fast. They learn. They respond. They think." The humans moved methodically. They did not attack first. Instead, they observed, calculating the strengths and weaknesses of the Zerathian formations. Every maneuver of the alien ships was countered not with equal firepower, but with clever positioning, traps, and feints. Jonas, Elena's first officer, smiled quietly. "They think they are in control. Let them feel safe. That will make them more predictable." And the Zerathians were predictable. They relied on brute force and overwhelming numbers. They had never seen intelligence deployed as a weapon. When their fleets attempted to surround the human ships, they found themselves trapped in their own formations, unable to move without colliding with each other. Captain Elena watched the situation calmly. "Open a communication channel," she said. "Let's see how confident they really are." The Zerathian Council froze when a simple message appeared on their screens. It was not loud, it was not demanding, and it carried no threat. It simply said, "We know what you did. We are here to stop it." Shock rippled across the chamber. The High Chancellor stared at the message, unable to speak. This is not possible," he muttered. "Nothing in the galaxy can—" Krelin cut in, his voice tight with fear and awe. "It is possible because it is them. Humans." The word humans was enough to make several council members laugh nervously. They had studied history, legends, and records of early human explorers. The humans had never reached this far before. Their planet was primitive in comparison. And yet, here they were. "They came from there?" one alien asked, pointing to the edge of known space. "Yes," Krelin said. "And they are more than we ever imagined. The Forbidden Pulse. It called them. And they answered." Meanwhile, human ships continued their advance, moving past the first line of Zerathian defenses. Every attempt to intercept them failed. Laser blasts evaporated harmlessly against adaptive shields. Missiles were rerouted mid-flight by rapid calculations no alien could match. The humans' tactics were unpredictable, yet flawless. In the council chamber, tension turned to panic. "We must attack, destroy them before they reach our core systems," the High Chancellor demanded. Admiral Kreth hesitated. "We cannot. Every engagement fails. Every tactic they face, they adapt. Our weapons, our strategies, nothing works." "And yet," Krelin said, "they do not attack us yet. They are waiting." "Waiting," the Chancellor's voice cracked. "For what?" Jonas, aboard the Intrepid Dawn, observed the fleets carefully. "They are overconfident. They assume technology alone makes them strong. They believe we are weak because we look small. Let them believe it. It will make the next moves easier." As human ships approached the inner sectors, something remarkable happened. Instead of destruction, humans began rescuing small Zerathian settlements that were abandoned or under threat from rogue elements. They disabled weapons, freed trapped civilians, and repaired ships that were about to explode. The Council could not understand it. Why would an invading force help the very species they were supposed to destroy? "It is a trick," one council member shouted. "They are luring us into a trap." But it was no trap. The humans' mission was clear: prevent misuse of the forbidden power and stop the Council from causing unnecessary destruction. Their intelligence, courage, and compassion were their weapons. They did not need to destroy the Zerathians to succeed. They only needed to show that strength was more than firepower. The first real confrontation came near the Zerathian border. Human ships encountered a fleet of warships twice their size. The Zerathians fired without hesitation. Explosions filled the void. Energy shields flared. But the humans did not panic. Captain Elena's voice was calm. "Evasive maneuvers, keep formation, use their overconfidence against them." The humans weaved between blasts, moved in unexpected directions, and disappeared from sensors at will. Every Zerathian attack missed. Every formation collapsed. Confusion rippled through the fleet. For the first time in centuries, the aliens realized they were not in control. Back in the council chamber, the High Chancellor's voice trembled. "How can this be? Our fleets are the strongest in history. Nothing has ever survived against us." "They are humans," Krillin said quietly. "They survive because they think differently. They adapt, improvise, and work together. Strength is not measured by weapons alone. It is measured by intelligence and courage. They are stronger than we realized." Across the galaxy, humans continued to advance, not with arrogance but with purpose. They mapped the alien fleets, discovered weak points, and avoided unnecessary casualties. The Zerathians were powerful, but they were rigid, bound by tradition, and unwilling to think beyond their own rules. Humans exploited these traits with quiet brilliance. By the time the sun rose over the Zerathian capital, human ships had reached the outer rim of their core systems. They had disrupted communications, disabled key weapons platforms, and rescued hundreds of alien civilians, all without a single human casualty. The Council was in chaos. "We cannot fight them," the Chancellor admitted finally. "Every tactic fails. Every attack is useless." Krillin's voice was firm. "They are here because of the forbidden device. They will not leave until the power is secured and the Council is stopped. If we continue to resist, more of our people will suffer. If we cooperate, perhaps we can survive this." For the first time, the Council realized that raw power was not enough. The humans had arrived, not as conquerors, but as a force that could challenge their arrogance and rewrite the rules of the galaxy. And the humans, calm and collected, prepared for the next step. They would advance into the heart of Zerathian space, uncover the forbidden power, and show the galaxy that true strength lay in courage, intelligence, and unity, not in weapons alone. The calm before the storm was over. The storm itself had arrived, in the form of humans who no one had expected and no one could stop. The Zerathian Empire had never faced a threat like this. Ships that looked fragile, almost delicate, moved through their space with precision and confidence. Every tactic the aliens tried failed. Every plan, no matter how elaborate, crumbled before human intelligence and ingenuity. Captain Elena Hart observed her sensors, her calm presence contrasting the growing panic among the Zerathians. "They're trying to predict us," she said. "Let them. We move where they think we cannot." First Officer Jonas nodded. "Their formations are rigid. They believe their strength lies in size and numbers. We'll use that against them." The humans advanced steadily. They avoided unnecessary conflict, focusing on strategy and intelligence. Small Zerathian outposts, abandoned and overworked, were restored. Weapons caches were neutralized without detonation. Prisoners were freed. The humans were methodical and precise. To the aliens, it seemed impossible. How could such a small force defeat their might without firing a single devastating blow? Krillin watched from the council chamber, his face pale. "They are not just strong," he muttered. "They are clever. Every move is calculated, every action has purpose. They fight with their minds as much as their ships." A fleet of Zerathian warships tried to trap a group of human ships in the Vega system. The plan was simple: corner them between a planetary fleet and a blockade. The humans, however, anticipated the trap. Using small bursts of energy, they manipulated the sensors and created false readings, making the Zerathians believe the humans had split into multiple fleets. Elena smiled. They think we are divided. Let them overcommit. The alien ships pursued, falling into the illusion. Human vessels slipped through the gaps, leaving the massive Zerathian fleet confused and disorganized. The humans moved like shadows, appearing where they were least expected, disappearing where they were most vulnerable. In one daring operation, the humans entered a heavily defended system. Zerathian warships lined the orbit of the planet, weapons pointed outward, ready to fire at anything that approached. Human ships, however, did not attack head-on. They deployed decoys, small drones that emitted energy signatures identical to the flagship. The Zerathians focused on the decoys, firing relentlessly. Meanwhile, the real human fleet slipped past the defenses, silently docking at the planet's surface. Using advanced tools, they disabled weapon platforms and communication hubs without alerting the entire fleet. By the time the Zerathians realized what had happened, the humans were gone, leaving chaos and confusion behind. The Council convened in urgent emergency meetings. The High Chancellor's voice was strained. We cannot fight them. Our weapons, our ships, our fleets, they are useless. They are teaching us a lesson, Krillin said quietly. We cannot defeat them with power. We must understand their ways. They do not rely on brute strength. They rely on intelligence, speed, and cooperation. Meanwhile, humans continued to advance through the galaxy. They were careful, precise, and efficient. They freed enslaved alien species, repaired damaged planets, and disabled weapons that could harm thousands. With each action, they gained allies. Species that had lived in fear of the Zerathians now saw humans as protectors, not conquerors. Captain Elena communicated with one of the newly freed species, a reptilian race called the Tharka. Their leader, Talon, was wary. "Why do you help us?" he asked. "We expected conquerors, not saviors." Elena looked at him calmly. "We are here to stop misuse of the forbidden power. We do not conquer. We protect, and we act when others cannot. Help us, and your people will survive. Stand aside, and you will be caught in the storm." Talon hesitated, then nodded. "Then we stand with you." Word spread quickly. More species joined the humans, recognizing a strength they had never seen before. Humans did not demand loyalty or fear. They offered intelligence, strategy, and protection. The galaxy began to shift. The Zerathians, however, refused to yield. They still believed in their superiority. A massive fleet was assembled to intercept the humans near the core of the Empire. Thousands of warships formed a wall of metal and fire, ready to crush what they thought was a minor threat. Elena watched the approaching fleet carefully. They believe size is power. Let's give them a lesson. The humans executed a series of maneuvers that the Zerathians could not predict. Ships split into small units, attacking weak points while drawing the enemy into traps. Every movement was precise, every decision deliberate. The humans did not rush. They calculated, adapted, and used the Zerathians' own strategies against them. Missiles fired by the Zerathians were rerouted mid-flight. Energy blasts were absorbed and redirected. Ships that were thought destroyed returned to battle, repaired by self-healing technologies that no alien weapon could permanently damage. The humans were everywhere at once and nowhere at all. In the council chamber, panic reached its peak. "How can they survive our attacks?" the High Chancellor demanded. "Everything we throw at them fails. Everything." "They are human," Krillin said again. "They do not fight like us. They do not rely on power alone. They adapt, learn, and survive. They are extraordinary." The turning point came when humans infiltrated a central communication hub. Zerathian officers relied on constant contact with fleets across the galaxy. The humans disabled the hub without destruction, creating confusion among the Zerathian forces. Ships could not coordinate. Fleets collided accidentally. Defensive systems malfunctioned. Jonas reported, Their entire structure is fragile. They rely on control, and now we've taken it from them. Elena smiled. Good. Now we show them true strength. Using the confusion, the humans advanced toward the Forbidden Zone, the source of the pulse that had called them here. The aliens assumed that the zone was untouchable, a place protected by technology and fear. But humans did not see barriers as permanent. They used clever paths, avoiding defenses, and adapted to every challenge the Zerathians threw at them. When the Zerathians finally realized humans were heading straight for the Forbidden Zone, it was almost too late. Fleets tried to intercept, but humans had already anticipated their moves. Energy shields were bypassed, attack patterns were countered, and alien ships found themselves trapped by their own formations. Captain Elena sent one final message to the Zerathians before reaching the Forbidden Zone. Stop using power to control. Stop harming others. The galaxy belongs to everyone, not just the strong. We are here to ensure that. Yield, or witness what intelligence, courage, and unity can accomplish. The council was silent. Fear had replaced arrogance. The humans were not just survivors. They were unstoppable, not because of weapons, but because of who they were. Intelligence, adaptability, and courage, qualities the Zerathians had always underestimated, made them superior in ways no technology could match. And as the human fleet approached the Forbidden Zone, the true test was about to begin. The pulse that had called them here was more powerful than anything the Zerathians had ever seen. But humans did not fear it. They would face it together, with strategy, cooperation, and an unshakable resolve. The Zerathian Empire had assumed the galaxy was theirs. They had assumed that nothing could challenge them. But humans had arrived, and with them came a force the Empire could not ignore, could not defeat, and could not comprehend. The calm of the galaxy was gone. The humans had shown their advantage, and the Zerathians now understood that true strength was more than size, more than weapons, more than fear. It was intelligence, courage, and unity, the qualities humans had in abundance. The Forbidden Zone awaited. And so did the humans. The Forbidden Zone was unlike anything the humans, or the Zerathians, had ever seen. From orbit, it appeared as a colossal structure, hovering silently in the void. Its surface was smooth, yet impossibly complex, pulsing with energy that seemed alive. Streams of light ran along its edges, changing color and intensity as if the construct itself were breathing. Captain Elena Hart stood on the bridge of the Intrepid Dawn, her eyes scanning the readings. "This is it," she said softly. "The source of the pulse. The power the Zerathians tried to control." Jonas, her first officer, leaned closer. "It's huge. I've never seen energy like this contained anywhere." Elena nodded. "And it's unstable. The Zerathians never understood it. They only wanted to use it for control, for power. That's why it called us here. They triggered it, but they don't know how to manage it." Below them, Zerathian fleets had gathered, trying to prevent humans from approaching the Forbidden Zone. Thousands of ships blocked the path, their weapons aimed at the human fleet. The High Chancellor's voice rang across comms, trembling with fear and anger. "You dare come here? Do you know what you are facing? The Forbidden Zone is untouchable. Leave now, or be destroyed." Elena's calm voice responded. "We are not here to destroy. We are here to prevent misuse. Your arrogance has brought this danger into the galaxy. We will not allow it to continue." The humans advanced steadily. They were not afraid. Every maneuver, every decision was deliberate. The Zerathians fired, unleashing volleys of energy, but humans anticipated each strike. Shields adapted instantly. Ships moved unpredictably, and advanced countermeasures neutralized the attacks. Even the Zerathians began to understand that conventional weapons were useless. Their massive fleet, their powerful technology, was ineffective against humans who used intelligence and teamwork instead of raw force. As the humans reached the edge of the Forbidden Zone, a powerful barrier appeared. It was unlike any force field the Zerathians had seen. Energy surged along its surface, pulsing in waves that distorted space around it. Attempts to penetrate it with weapons or probes failed instantly. Captain Elena studied the readings carefully. "This is not just a barrier," she said. "It's a system. It responds to thought, to intention. We cannot break it with force. We have to understand it." Jonas frowned. "Understand it? How?" "By observing," Elena replied. "By working together. This construct is ancient. It's alive in some way. It will respond if we approach correctly. But it will punish arrogance, greed, or fear." The human ships split into small teams, each analyzing different parts of the Forbidden Zone. Sensors probed the surface. Readings recorded every pulse of energy. Slowly, patterns emerged. The energy streams were not random. They were signals, instructions, and warnings. The Forbidden Zone had been designed to protect the galaxy, not enslave it. The device the Zerathians had triggered was never meant to be used as a weapon. Elena's voice was calm but firm. "This is what we were meant to do. We were called here to stop misuse and restore balance. Let's proceed carefully." Meanwhile, the Zerathians scrambled to understand the humans' progress. Fleet commanders could only watch as the humans navigated the Forbidden Zone, avoiding hazards that would have destroyed any other species. Every move was precise, deliberate, and intelligent. The aliens realized with growing fear that humans were capable of thinking in ways they could not predict. In one daring maneuver, a human team entered a central chamber of the Forbidden Zone. Inside, the walls glowed with flowing energy, forming patterns that seemed to shift in response to the human's presence. Sensors detected immense power contained within. If misused, it could destroy entire star systems. Jonas studied the patterns. "It's alive. It reacts to us." Elena nodded. "It tests us. We cannot rush. We cannot act with anger or fear. We have to show understanding, courage, and unity." The humans approached carefully. They followed the energy patterns, adjusting their movements, matching the pulse of the construct. Slowly, the energy streams stabilized. Warning signals dimmed. The Forbidden Zone recognized their intent. It understood they were not there for domination, but to protect. At that moment, the Zerathians made a final desperate move. Fleet after fleet attempted to force entry into the Forbidden Zone, firing weapons, breaching shields, and sending boarding parties. But the Forbidden Zone itself reacted. Energy pulses deflected weapons, nullified attacks, and created barriers that only humans could navigate. The Zerathians were trapped outside, powerless. From the council chamber, the High Chancellor shouted orders in panic. "Stop them! Stop them! They cannot be allowed to control the Forbidden Zone." Krillin shook his head. "They do not need control. They are not here to dominate. They are here to prevent catastrophe." In the central chamber, Captain Elena and her team reached the heart of the Forbidden Zone. A massive sphere of energy hovered in the center, radiating power that could destroy or protect entire systems. Symbols and streams of light pulsed in response to human presence, adjusting and aligning, as if recognizing their intentions. Elena studied the sphere. "We cannot take it. We cannot destroy it. We must stabilize it, secure it, and ensure no one misuses it." Jonas nodded. "Agreed. But how?" Elena gestured to the energy streams. "We align with it. We move with its rhythm, not against it. Intelligence, courage, and unity. We have all three. That is how we succeed." The humans carefully synchronized their movements with the pulses of the Forbidden Zone. Streams of energy flowed around them, sensing their purpose. Slowly, the sphere stabilized, its dangerous fluctuations calming. The immense power that had threatened entire star systems became contained, controlled, and safe. Outside, the Zerathians watched in shock. Their fleets were powerless. Every attempt to intervene failed. They realized, finally, that humans had achieved something they could never accomplish, something beyond brute strength, beyond technology, beyond arrogance. Humans had tamed the untamable with intelligence, courage, and unity. Captain Elena transmitted a final message to the Zerathian Council. "The forbidden power will remain protected. Your arrogance endangered the galaxy, but it has been contained. Learn from this. True strength is not weapons, nor fleets, nor fear. It is intelligence, courage, and cooperation. Do not forget it." The council was silent. They had faced the full measure of human ability and survived, but only because humans chose mercy over destruction. Their arrogance had been challenged, and the galaxy had witnessed a new kind of power, the human way. Elena turned to her crew. "We've done what we came for. The galaxy is safer, not because we destroyed the Zerathians, but because we showed them the right path. That is our victory." Jonas smiled. "They will never underestimate humans again." Elena nodded. "They will respect humans, and they will remember." As the human fleet departed, the Forbidden Zone pulsed one last time, as if acknowledging the humans' efforts. The Zerathians watched silently, humbled. Their arrogance had been broken, their assumptions proven wrong. The galaxy had changed forever, and humans returned home, not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as protectors. They had arrived when no one expected them, faced unimaginable danger, and proven that true strength lies in courage, intelligence, and unity. The legend would be told for generations. No one expected humans to arrive until the forbidden button was pressed. The galaxy would never forget the day humans showed that being underestimated was the greatest advantage of all.